Just to clarify that, Senator Menendez.
Okay. Senator King, I, too, like Senator Menendez, have a lot of respect for you, and you and I have worked together on many issues. Let's talk a little bit about just some basic things. Are we under a court order to take up redistricting in a special session in mid-decade?
Not to my knowledge.
Was there a law passed in the regular session that is mandating that we take up redistricting in a special session in a mid-decade?
No, not to my knowledge.
Have we received any new data, any census numbers, any new demographics that is compelling us to take up redistricting in a special session in mid-decade?
I personally have not.
Okay. So here's a very even simpler question. So why are we doing it?
What we're doing today is we're responding to the governor's call to take up redistricting in this special session, and we're have under consideration the resolution that allows us to begin that process.
Okay. But let's dig a little bit deeper. Why do you think that we're taking up this unprecedented move? Hasn't been done since 2003 and before. I don't think it's ever been done in Texas history. Why are we taking it up now?
And I think that's a very valid question, and I think it's one that we'll have a lot of time to talk about in hearings, but which I hope those hearings will begin next Friday, or this Friday. But again, for today, if I can just hold us to the resolution, because really all we're trying to do today is just set up the committee and set up the process so that we can begin those kind of more detailed issues.
Do you have a map?
I do not have a map.
Who is drawing the map?
I'm not drawing a map. I don't know of anyone here today. They may be, others may be trying to draw a map. I'm not aware of that. But traditionally, the way it's happened in the past is the Congressional Republican Caucus has presented a map. But I haven't seen anything to date, but I'm very confident at some point I will.
Do you know when you'll have a map?
I do not. I would not even plan on looking at a map myself until after we got through the information gathering phase, which is the first hearings that would be hearings on the subject of the call. After that, that would be the earliest time that I would even think about a bill.
Okay. So the last maps, it was revealed in, I think, one of the court cases, perhaps, that a gentleman by the name of Adam Kincaid drew the maps. Do you know him?
Yes, I do know Adam Kincaid.
Is he drawing the maps?
Probably want to ask him that.
And where does Adam live?
I don't know.
Does he live in Texas?
No, I don't believe he does.
I think it's Virginia. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody knows who drew the maps the last time and who might be drawing them again.
I think he's the chair or the CEO. I think it's called the Redistricting Project.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll hear more about Adam Kincaid, who a non-Texan from Virginia drawing the maps. Okay. Let's see. So redistricting was included on the special session agenda because President Trump's DOJ issued a memo asserting that congressional districts 9, 18, 29, and 33 were unconstitutional because of their racial composition. Do you share President Trump's DOJ's view about the racial composition of these districts and agree redistricting should occur because of the reasons cited by the DOJ?
I don't have an opinion on the DOJ letter. As I mentioned to Senator Menendez, my extent digging into it was that I read it, and then I requested a copy of the response that the Attorney General's Office litigation team had submitted to the court response to that letter, and I've read that response, and that's the extent of my knowledge on the letter or the allegations within it.
Okay. Well, speaking of the DOJ letter, I assume you've read it. Okay. So the letter neither finds a violation of law nor engages in bona fide settlement efforts. It raises concerns and asks for a same-day response. It's kind of a fig leaf for a power grab. Are you aware that the DOJ sued Texas in 2021, alleging that the congressional map discriminated against minority voters, and the Trump administration dropped that suit after years of litigation? Are you aware of that?
Generally, yes.
Okay. So it's too late for the DOJ to be bringing up new litigation against 2021 maps, I would think, wouldn't you?
Again, I can't speak for the DOJ. I've read the letter, I've read the response, and I'm sure that the plaintiffs have filed responses as well, but I haven't read those.
Okay. So since we're talking about 2021, I believe you did vote for those maps. Is that correct? And I think every Republican member here voted for those maps. Is that correct?
I believe Senator Huffman was the bill author.
Okay. But it was a partisan vote. Republicans voted for the maps.
Redistricting usually
Right.
is.
Okay. You know, I was looking back at some of the debate going back and forth, and 12 times on the Senate floor, the term race blind was said in debate. 12 times. 11 times, the words VRA compliance was said. So with all of that, and all of y'all voting for those maps, what's wrong with the maps? Why are we doing it over?
Again, I can't speak to the DOJ, I don't know any of their facts behind that. I just read the letter, which was conclusory in nature. And I would just refer you to the filings by the parties, or at some point, I'm sure this will come up in hearings and there'll be discussions on that, but you know as much about the letter as I do.
Okay, and I'm saying that because I want people who are up in the gallery or people who are tuning in to realize that these are maps that y'all supported and voted for. I just want to make sure that's clear to everyone that's paying attention. Is the DOJ letter the only reason we are considering redrawing the congressional districts, or is there other motivation?
Well, for the purposes of what we're doing today, the reason for considering the congressional redistricting is because the governor placed it on the call.
And you know what sparked the governor to want to put this on the call? Because I don't remember, unless I'm just, forgetting, but I don't recall us having any conversations during the regular session that we just finished not too long ago. Did redistricting ever come up?
Not in my personal discussions, but if you're referring to the call itself, it does say legislation that provides a revised congressional redistricting plan in light of constitutional concerns raised by the U.S. Department of Justice. And so as we proceed forward, I know we'll be discussing such things. But again, for the purpose of today, it is just the resolution establishing a committee so that we can get into the redistricting process.
Will the committee have invited testimony, and I don't apologize if I'm not saying his name correctly, Harmeet Dillon? That's the person at the DOJ who signed the July 7th letter requesting we engage in intentional discrimination.
So, assuming the committee agrees with the process, what we would be doing is notifying as many interested parties, interested stakeholders, interest groups, as well as the general public to the greatest extent we could of when the hearings are. I don't have any plans, although it could change, for specific invited testimony, but as we talked on the phone Saturday or Sunday, and as I've talked to Senator Parker, in your roles as caucus chairs, anyone that you would like to specifically testify, give me their names, and I'll make sure that they get to testify early on in the hearings.
Okay, well, I think the person that signed this letter should come before the committee. So I'm going to make an official request of you and the committee that he be invited. And if we have to go to DC and have a field hearing there, so be it. But I think the person who wrote that letter needs to come before the committee, because I'm sure we all have a lot of questions. For example, what I would want to know about is the letter claims that the congressional districts 9, 18, 29, and 33, by the way, 3 of those are in Houston, and they all play a part in my Senate district, are unconstitutional coalition districts. But this is baseless, because the congressional district 29 is a majority Latino CVAP district, and it's not a coalition district. Texas legislators just testified in El Paso to that very statement. So I would have a lot of questions for the person that signed that letter. So I'm hopeful, Mr. Senator King, that you would want to entertain that suggestion. So in the last census, Texas was given 2 more additional seats. So we are at 38, second largest delegation in the Congress. And do you know why we got 2 additional seats?
The state had grown in population by about 2 million at minimum.
And what group would you attribute that growth to?
I don't recall the census data in detail.
Well, 95% of the population growth came from minorities, mostly Latinos. Would you be surprised to know that minorities did not get more representation, even though we were the cause of that growth?
I'm not advised on that.
No, I mean, in fact, we received less. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to tell you that I look forward to a very robust debate and conversation in the days to come.
Yes, and thank you for agreeing to serve on the committee as